You know what's so upsetting to me? This wave right here is like exactly how I would love for my hair to behave. I have no idea how I got it to do that. Will not be able to replicate it. So frustrating. Hello and welcome to my channel. I am Ashley and today I'm going to do my makeup while I talk to you about why it took me 10 years to start my YouTube channel. If this is your first time here, if you would hit the subscribe button and ring the bell, and after the video, not right now, wait until you watch the whole video, but after the video, go to my Instagram and enter my monthly giveaway. All right, let's get ready. Well, I mean, I'm already ready, but yeah. Roll the footage. So most things that I'm using, I will just put on the screen to let you know what they are. That way I don't lose my train of thought too much because I feel like I'm still very new at this, so I really do lose my train of thought sometimes and have to stop and be like, oh, what was I thinking about or talking about? And it just makes it a little bit harder when I'm stopping to talk about the products. So most things I'm just gonna put on the screen. I'm gonna talk today just about the whole process of starting YouTube and how I got started, kind of why I wanted to do it, that kind of thing. So I've wanted to start a YouTube channel, oh my gosh, you guys, since 2010. And I have put it off since 2010. So for literally 10 years, I wanted to start a YouTube channel and I just put it off. And crazy enough, the reason I put it off is because I'm a perfectionist. Well, I'm a recovering perfectionist now, but it is an everyday battle that I literally have to fight with myself over because it's a lifelong addiction, I think, to perfection. And maybe that sounds crazy and you're like, well, what would being a perfectionist have to do with, actually I'm going to use a sponge today. I'm using this Real Technique sponge. I just started trying this out, I think last week, and I really like it. So I'm going to see how it works with my foundation because I haven't tried it with foundation yet. So I know you're wondering, what the heck does being a perfectionist have to do with putting off a YouTube channel? Or maybe you're a perfectionist in the sense that I am and you get it. But the thing is, for me, perfectionism is really a way to avoid criticism because I feel like if something's perfect, then no one can criticize it. No one can, say anything bad about it. And I'm very sensitive, I think, sometimes to criticism. I don't think sometimes. I am very sensitive, period. I'm just, since we're getting deep, let's just go straight to it. I am very sensitive, and especially to criticism, because I think we've all been there where you really put your heart and soul and a lot of work into something, and then someone says something critical about it, and it's just like, it just bursts your balloon, bursts your bubble, peas in your cornflakes, as we would say where I'm from. It really just gets you down. I'm very sensitive to that. And so for me, I've kind of developed this defense mechanism, because that's what it is, of if I make sure everything is perfect, then no one can criticize it. No one can say anything bad about it. And that is, oh my gosh, number one, so much pressure to put on yourself. It's crazy. And number two, it's unsustainable because the thing is, nothing is ever perfect. So what would happen is I would be like, oh, I want to start my channel. I'm going to record a video, and then I record a video, but then it wouldn't be perfect. The lighting wouldn't be perfect, or I would get tripped up on something and just quit halfway through because I was like, oh my gosh, I'll just have to try another day because I'm not going to put something out if it's not, perfect, not great. And that's the thing, is perfect is the enemy of good, right? Is that how the saying goes? The thing is, if you're always trying to be perfect, you just don't ever get anything put out there. And that's the trap I fell into for literally 10 years. I would just put it off. I'd be like, well, I don't have the camera I want yet. I don't have the lighting I want yet. I don't have the time to post a video every day. I don't have the time to, post on Instagram. I just don't have the time. And I really, set myself back because I was constantly trying to be perfect. So you'll be wondering, well, then what is it that kind of finally lit the fire under you and you actually finally started? Crazy enough, it was a book I read. Well, it was a couple books. The first one was Daring Greatly by Brené Brown. If you have not read that book, oh my gosh, you've got to read it. It is so good. She talks about shame, but it's crazy in a way that like you don't even realize the way that you've been holding yourself back because of what other people might think or your fears about other people's thoughts. And the thing is, we're all worried about what other people think. I don't think any one person on this planet has escaped that trap their entire lives. I know that there are a lot of people that, you know, are much better at dealing with it and they don't get as consumed by what other people think. But everybody at some point has been like, I don't want to do this because what if this person looks at me funny? I mean, how many people, every time I watch YouTube videos that are talking about starting a YouTube channel, I feel like there are creators and they're like, yeah, I was really worried about if someone, like what was going to happen when people that I knew found my channel. Or I was worried about people finding my channel. And it's so crazy because I literally told my husband, I said, oh my gosh, I really have always wanted to start a YouTube channel, but I just can't do it. And he was like, why? And I was like, well, what if someone finds it and they make fun of me? Literally, I will be 30 years old. And I'm like, what if someone makes fun of me? The thing is, we all feel that way. Honestly, I think the majority of us have that little voice in our head that's like, well, what if someone makes fun of me? What if, which is caring about what someone else thinks. We all let it get to us at some point. And I think it's really helpful to know that. And so the book Daring Greatly, what I love about it is it says, you know, you shouldn't be worried about putting yourself out there because really the only people who should criticize you or have any place to criticize you are people who are trying to. So the thing is, if you try something new, do you really care or should you really care what someone who never tries, who never puts themselves out there, what they think? No, you shouldn't care because they're not putting themselves out there like you are. You're putting yourself in the ring, you're putting yourself out there, and you don't really need to care about those opinions. And that doesn't go for just YouTube. Honestly, when you think about it, that applies to anything because I think, like I said, all of us have done this where we want to do something, but we find ourselves holding back because we don't want to feel judged. And really, if we do that our whole lives, then all that's going to happen is we are going to have a lifetime full of things that we wanted to do that we never did because a bunch of people whose opinions didn't matter was what was the top of our mind. That was what we were worried about. We were like, oh, we were too worried about, you know, insignificant opinions. There's a really great Dr. Seuss quote that says, those who matter don't mind and those who mind don't matter, or vice versa. Either way it works. And the whole point is that the people whose opinions you should care about in life are the people who are going to support you. And the people who don't support you, their opinions are insignificant. So Brené Brown's Daring Greatly really helped me a lot, and it got my mindset kind of ready. But the book that actually got me like, okay, I'm gonna do this, and I literally started filming the next week, was a book by Mel Robbins. So the book by Mel Robbins is called Take Control of Your Life, and it's an Audible exclusive. So this video is not sponsored, by the way, if that wasn't obvious. This video is definitely not sponsored. So it is an audiobook. It's not, that I know of, available to just read, but audiobooks are great for me because I have a daughter. So a lot of times I can be listening to a book at times when I obviously could not be sitting there reading a book. And let me tell you what, that book lit a fire under my butt like nothing I have ever read in my life, which I didn't actually read it, but still, you know what I'm saying. Like nothing that had ever been read to me. The book is basically set up where it's, I think 8 or 9, I can't remember the exact number, coaching sessions where she talks to people about what it is that they do in their lives to hold themselves back. And I'll be honest, I found myself in almost every one of the people that she was talking to. There was one girl in particular who was a perfectionist in a way that I am, and her coaching session, Mel Robbins' coaching session with this girl, was so eye-opening to me because the girl said, well, what happens is I want everything to be perfect and I am so afraid of failing that I just don't try. That is the literal story of my life, is that I want everything to be perfect to the point that I just don't try. Because, again, like I said, I have this fear of criticism. I had this fear of failing, of not being good enough. And the thing that Mel Robbins really talked about with her that helped me, and maybe some of you have the same issue in your lives or personality quirk, is this growth mindset versus fixed mindset. And what she said is basically for those of us who maybe were told a lot as kids, like how smart we were, it gives you this idea that talent and intelligence is a fixed thing. And that if you try and you're not good enough, basically that's it. Like you're either smart enough to do something or you're not smart enough. You're either good enough at something or you're not. Versus a growth mindset, which is saying, you know, you can get better at stuff. You can get smarter. You can learn more. You can practice. And I definitely have always had that where if something doesn't come naturally, I'm like, oh, well, I'm just not good at it. And I don't even want to try because I don't want to put myself out there and, you know, deal with the criticism that comes with getting better at something, with trying and continuing to work on something until you get better at it. If you have that same issue in your life, then this will make sense to you. And if you don't, you're probably thinking, what do you mean? You think you don't have to practice things? Of course you have to practice things. But crazy enough, for me, that just was not the mindset that I grew up with. I thought like, you know, oh, I am good at A, B, and C, and I'm not good at D, E, and F. So I will only do A, B, and C, which is nuts, right? So in regards to YouTube, it would be like I would film a video and maybe I would get tripped up and I was like, well, I'm just not good on camera. That's it. I have to stop. Or, you know, maybe my camera settings wouldn't be great. I'm like, well, I'm just not good at videography, so I can't do this, which my camera settings are still not perfect. They are getting better, but I have to work at it. The one thing that I will say that feels like it has been intuitive for me is editing. But even with editing, I actually, my very first video, forgot to uncheck a box and it ended up doing this weird, leaving this weird text on the screen that I didn't want. I'll insert a little clip of it here. Lustre from Victoria Beckham in Mink. I love it. So even things that I feel intuitively good at, like editing, still take practice and they take work to get better. I mean, so for YouTube, really, I had to start my channel and start making videos and putting them out there. I really had to get comfortable with the fact that it's not going to be perfect. It's never going to be perfect. And especially at the beginning, it's not going to be perfect. And it may not even be as good as I want it to be, but you have to go through that stage. You have to work at it. You have to try at it. You have to really put yourself out there in order to get to where you want to be. I know I said I wasn't going to talk much about products, but I am just briefly going to tell you that I'm going to use this Natasha Denona Gold palette because I spent way too much money on it and I have used it maybe 4 times. I'm not a big palette person. I love me some quads or like even a mini palette sometimes, but I've got to get some use out of this thing. I really need this is just an aside, I really need my brows done, but we are under a stay-at-home order right now in Delaware, so there's no going to the esthetician. I'm going to have to shape my brows myself, and that's going to be interesting. I am not great at brows, I have to be honest. I'm not great at it at all. So now I'm going to get into actually starting my channel, which has been kind of surreal for a couple reasons. The main one being that I had a lot of videos planned. I had, you know, kind of my concepts of what I wanted to talk about and what I wanted to do my videos on. I had that all planned out for March and for April, but now I feel frivolous to talk about beauty products and, you know, my favorite Amazon products and all these things. It feels just surreal, and I've kind of had to edit some of my ideas a little bit and move things around because I just don't want to be insensitive to the fact that I may be doing fine financially, but a lot of people aren't, and it sucks. There's no other way to say it. It really sucks. It's hard to make videos and not address it without feeling, I don't know, kind of like, I don't know, I don't want to feel like Marie Antoinette, like, let me just talk about this expensive, I mean, seriously, like my first video, I kind of cringe a little bit because I talked about this $150 foundation that, by the way, I love, I really do, but I'm like, there are people who really rely paycheck to paycheck and they're not getting paid right now. They are worried about where they're going to get food, and I'm talking about a $150 foundation. that feels so just, it feels tone deaf, and I just don't think I can do it. So since I have moved things around, I'd love to know what kind of videos you would like to see. What kind of content helps you get your mind off of things? Because I don't think that, you know, we all need to stop completely, but I do want to make sure that the things that I'm putting out help someone feel better, not make someone feel like crap. I don't know. Again, sensitivity coming to play. Earlier, when I was talking about being sensitive and that, you know, playing into not liking criticism, that sensitivity does not just apply to criticism. I want to be open about that. It really applies to a lot of things. Like, for example, if I am somewhere with a group of people and one person is in a bad mood, I will be very sensitive to that. I will pick up on it. I will fixate on it. It will be on my mind. I will do everything I can. Like, I will bend over backwards to try to get that person pepped up, just because I really seek for everyone to be in harmony, everyone to get along. I really don't do well with conflict. I'm very conflict averse. So the sensitivity plays into a lot of things in my life, not just my need to avoid criticism. I talked about this in a couple videos. I don't know, does anyone else do this? I take my blush, I put it over my brows, I put a little bit on my nose, and I literally put some down here. Like, I know people often put highlight or like a shimmery bronze on the high points of their face. I do it with blush. It's almost like I want to look sunburnt. Is that weird? It is weird, isn't it? If you haven't noticed, I literally have only used 2 eyeshadows on my eyes. That's pretty much my normal. I'll probably put like a topper, maybe one of the lid lusters from Victoria Beckham, but I don't use more than 2 or 3 shades at a time generally. Seriously, my eyebrows are in need of so much help. It wasn't too bad until I pulled out this palette to do my eyebrows and I can see them up closer, and there are so many stray hairs. I'm just gonna have to bite the bullet and do it myself. I don't know what I'm gonna do about my lashes. I've seen so many posts on Facebook where people are talking about how we're all gonna look after we've had to cut our own hair, do our own eyebrows, our own lashes, like, that it's gonna look crazy. I mean, I don't even look forward to seeing how I'm gonna look at the end of this. Our state is actually on a stay-at-home order until May 15th. So the governor had said that maybe it will be lifted by then. Like, maybe we'll be able to lift it before then, but they did put it up for until May 15th. So we'll see. I'm really hoping that, you know, we're all going to come together as a country and get this done. And I'm really hoping that everybody's going to do their part, do what they're supposed to do. One thing I want to say, as an actual millennial, I'll be 30 this year, I saw so many people talking about how millennials were on the beaches at spring break. Those are not millennials. I think it's Gen Z. Those are not millennials. I'm pretty sure the youngest millennials are like 26 at this point, 26 or 25. Those are not millennials, okay? Those are Gen Z brats. I'm sorry, calling people brats is not going to make this any better, but it was really frustrating to see news reports of all these crowded beaches, and you know, those are people that are going back to so many different places, and God knows what they're taking with them. The mom in me, like, my daughter's only 7 months old, but still I'm like, there's no way my daughter's going to spring break ever. And to be fair, I was not allowed to go to spring break, so I turned out just fine, and I've had plenty of fun in my life. I have to pause because there's no way I can do a complete thought while doing eyeliner. It just isn't gonna happen. So one big thing that I've already learned just a few YouTube videos in is it is way harder than you think it is to come up with a concept for a video, to get your research together, to plan it all out, and then to actually film and edit, get it published, do all the things you need to do on the back end as far as the description, listing all of the products. I mean, it is a process. And I have so much more respect now for all of my favorite YouTubers because it is hard. I mean, those things are difficult in addition to just the difficulty that comes with sitting down and speaking to a camera like it's your friend. It's odd. So I haven't actually touched on why I wanted to start a YouTube channel, which I think right now is more important than ever. And the reason why is there are so many YouTubers that I watch that I feel like they're my friends. I feel like that's a social interaction. I feel like there's a community there. and I go and I watch their channels on whatever days it is that I know that they're going to publish. A lot of the ones that I really like publish on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, which is literally the way I decided, oh, I should publish on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, because I think like 4 or 5 of my favorite YouTubers, that's when they post. So I thought, oh, that must be a good time. But I go to those pages on those days because I want to see their opinions. And it's not even necessarily like, oh, I'm going to buy that. It's that I want to hang out with them. I want to hang out with the other people in the comments who I know I can kind of relate to because we both like watching the same YouTuber. It's really that sense of community. Right now, more than ever, we're all kind of turning to that because we can't go out in our communities the way that we normally do. We can't congregate in our churches the way that we normally do, at parks or with our group of friends. The things that we are just so used to doing for human interaction, which is so fundamentally necessary for us, those things we can't do right now. And so those same reasons that I wanted to start a YouTube channel, because I'm drawn to the community of it, I'm drawn to that sharing of, oh, I like this product, I didn't like this product, like interacting with each other. I'm so drawn to that, and I think that rings true now more than ever, because through technology is how we're all going to be able to stay connected for the next week, 2 weeks, however long we have to maintain this social distance. That's really the ways that we're going to be able to pull together, which so many people have already touched on this, and I agree with it. It's like, how lucky are we that we can do that? Because never before has there been in the history of this world so many ways to stay connected while not being together. We're so lucky. So to be honest, a part of me was like, you know what? Maybe because of this pandemic, I should just hold off. Like, maybe this is not the time to get started. But then really, I realized maybe it is. Because you know what? This is the time that I got everything ready. This is the time that I started. And, you know, God works in mysterious ways. Whether you believe God or fate or whatever, just sheer coincidence of the universe. This was the time that I started. And I just decided, you know what? I am not going to let this be the excuse of why I didn't do something I wanted to do. There are so many things right now that we are being asked not to do and that we are not doing for the greater good. This is one thing that I can do that does not hurt anyone. It's something I can do in my house, and it's an outlet for me. It's something that I have really enjoyed doing, and there's no reason to stop now. Yes, I have to change my plan, but you know what? Plans get changed. Just because I have to switch up some of the video ideas that I had is not a reason to say, oh, I'm not going to do it. That is a cop-out, and I'm not going to let myself fall back into that trap of, oh, it's not the perfect time, which I know sounds silly because I think every single video I've ever watched about starting YouTube tells you there's no perfect time, just start. But really, it is the best advice I can give. I waited so long. I mean, I waited so long that it was like I would just sit there and daydream about what I would say in videos because I wanted so badly to make them, and I just was holding myself back. Do not hold yourself back, and holding yourself back takes many forms. Don't be like, oh, I need to wait until I have the perfect this or the perfect that. Just don't do that to yourself. Yes, try to find like a good camera, a good lighting setup if you can. I will link down below everything that I use. You don't have to use what I use, but I do want to put it down there because I know that there were many videos that I watched where I was like, oh, I really like this setup. I really like the lighting and the quality of this video. What does this person use? And I couldn't find the information. So I will put that down below just in case, you know, maybe you want to start a channel and you're curious. I will say though, I have much better equipment than my skill level. So maybe invest in getting some skills versus better equipment, because I have pretty good equipment, I would say, but I don't really have the skills. I literally have to Google everything one step at a time. So I feel like I fix one, make one tweak a video and everything gets incrementally better, which that's the way I'm doing it. And I have given myself over to the process. So I'm happy with it. But you don't have to necessarily have as high-end a camera or a lens as I have. You can just invest in maybe some better technical skills than I have. Watch some free videos, get some more knowledge than I have. And just know that just because something works for another YouTuber, like, doesn't mean it's gonna work for you. For example, I got one lens and then I ended up not liking it. I just didn't, the zoom wasn't right. I don't know the technical term for that, but basically every lens has a range of how far in you can zoom it when you're working with a DSLR. And the one I had, just, it didn't get close enough, so I was having to literally get my camera so close to me that my lights were like blinding me. Or my light, I only use one light. My light was blinding me. So I ended up getting a completely different lens, and I like that one much better. It's the one that I'm using right now. Like I said, I'll put it down below. I just want to mention these challenges because I feel like in the past, wanting to change that lens would have stopped me from putting up those videos. But as a recovering perfectionist, I did not. I said, you know what? This is what we have. We're going to work with it. We're going to put these videos up because nothing is ever going to be perfect. And like I said, perfect is the enemy of good. If you're wondering why I put 2 mascaras on, this is a trick I learned a very long time ago. You put on a brown mascara first on the lower lash line and then put on a black over it. And it just makes the lashes look longer. They look wispier on the bottom. I like them. I feel like it balances out my lash extensions really well. My lash extensions that, oh my gosh, I don't know what's going to happen when these start falling out. I have ordered some individuals that maybe I'll try to put on myself as mine start to fall out. Because like I said, here our salons and spas cannot open back until May 15th. Maybe they can open sooner, but we're all preparing for May 15th to be when we can, you know, go get our hair done again. Hopefully. I'm hoping that we all get through this thing and we flatten the curve and we, you know, get back to life. I feel like we're all going to be really grateful when that happens. This is so crazy. I feel like my makeup didn't take that long, even though I know it did take that long. It just felt like it was going by so fast because I was talking the whole time. I'm gonna go find some earrings, put on a necklace, and then I'll be right back. Alright, that is it for today's video. I really like how this makeup turned out, which is great because I'm all dressed up with no place to go. Thank you so much for spending a little bit of time with me today. If you would, hit the subscribe button and ring the bell. And be sure to head on over to my Instagram. I have a giveaway going on right now. You should enter. I hope to see you next time. Take care of yourself.